Super. This is a special board meeting of the Needham Housing Authority Board of Commissioners, and it's 10 a.m. on Friday the 10th, and it's being conducted in a hybrid manner consistent with Governor Huey's pronouncements that we can do this under the open meeting law. And I'm going to start by calling the roll. Reg Foster is here.
Jim, you've been elevated. You're number 2 now.
Oh, is this, well, then Jim Flanagan's here.
Yep.
Ed Scheidler's here.
That's right, too. Kenny Herb's here.
Janice Bennett is present.
Great. So we have a quorum and all our commissioners here, and I just note that the notice of this meeting was timely posted to the clerk of the town of Needham. And I have no special chair announcements at the beginning, so I'm going to turn the meeting over to our executive director, Cheryl Gosman, to explain why we're all meeting here today.
Okay, good morning, everyone. The bid process for the roof project at High Rock Estates has concluded, I think, and the lowest bidder has been selected. The lowest bidder is JJS Universal Construction Company out of Dudley, Massachusetts. The architect has checked the references of the lowest bidder and suggests proceeding with awarding them the contract for the work. The references were positive of the bidder's work and service. The construction company should be prepared to take on the project and complete it successfully. The estimated budget for the project is $320K. However, the bid came in at the proposed contract cost is $130,124.50. There are 2 alternates for the bid. I'm sorry. That is the base proposal for the for all of the buildings except 7. So 2 alternates are proposed for 4 buildings at a cost of $29,900,000. And the second alternate for the remaining 3 buildings at $19,500 for a total base bid of $179,524.50. The Universal Construction Company has submitted all the documents which list their bids. And I ask that the board consider voting to allow me to sign the contract with JSS Universal.
Great. So thank you. I'm going to make a motion and have it seconded, and then we'll have a formal discussion of any questions and comments and everything else that the board wants to ask as part of that motion that's on the floor. So I'm going to, Cheryl, one question. Are you asking us to approve the entire amount with both alternate 1 and alternate 2?
The same.
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to make a motion that the Needham Housing Authority Board of Commissioners award the paving contract.
Nope.
Roofing.
What? Bigger?
Roofing.
Sorry, roofing contract, pardon me, my paving on the brain, to JJS Universal for the amount of $179,524.50. Make sure we get that 50 cents in there. Yeah, 50 cents, that's important. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from our tenant commissioner is appropriate here. Commissioners, do you have questions for um, our executive director? Or comments?
I was confused, as Cheryl was reading that off. Are there different contracts or one master contract or different sections?
No, it's one contract with the bidder for those roofs except the 7, but I can make a decision to continue with the contractor for the alternates, for the remaining 7 to get completed. It wouldn't go back, I wouldn't need to go back out to another contractor for the remaining 7. But I can make a decision to say, okay, we're going to stop here, or we're going to continue with the remaining 7.
Why were 7 excluded in the original bid?
As the alternate, we weren't sure how the bidding was going to come in. So we wanted to make sure that the bidders would, it's in a job that they could afford to do. There was a lot of roofs. We didn't expect the lowest bidder to come in as low as he did. So we split up the bid, I'm sorry, we didn't split up the bid, but we changed it to add the alternate so that it wouldn't exceed our budget.
So as I hear you, Cheryl, because you and I have talked about this, when we made the $320,000 estimate, we weren't sure that we wouldn't get a $400,000 estimate.
Right.
At which point we wanted to be able to forego doing the roofs in alternative 1 or alternative 2, so we'd come over under the amount of money. It's not just an estimate, but it's actually the amount of money that we can spare for doing roofs.
Yeah.
So this was to give you, our executive director and the board, flexibility. Happily, it sounds like, I don't think I'm putting words in your mouth, the bid came in substantially under what we were expecting. So we can do not only the base number, how many houses are being done for the 130,124?
There are, oops, sorry.
Just whether not the number, street numbers, but just the overall number of houses.
Yeah. I don't have that number in front of me, but I will. Construction.
Well, I would conjecture that the alternate one was how many houses? 3 in
The
the
alternates are 7 in total. 4 of them are building 282, 18, 33, and 59 for 29,900. And then 2 building, the remaining 3, building number 26, 30, and 39 for 19,500, minus the total number of units, which are 60. So that would be 57. Sorry.
So if each roof is
$57.
it's about $7,500 a roof for alternates 1 and 2 here. So if we're getting 130, 124, and I'll leave the 50% out, 50 cents out, that would imply that we're doing about 17 houses roofs in the first main bid here while you're looking at it. You're looking for the actual number.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
I want to say it's more than that, significantly more, because there are 60 units at the site.
But we're not doing all the roofs, are we? Or are we?
All except 7.
All so that's 60. So you're saying we're doing 53.
53.
Okay, 53 roofs. So that would be 53 minus 7 is 46.
Yeah.
Okay. So more questions, Jim.
Yeah, just so what I'm hearing is we're getting the vast majority done for the 180,000 under the roll rounding up 179,000 somewhat, with 140,000 remaining in the budget that can easily cover the balance of the roofs. And we're giving Cheryl the flexibility to then, continue with the existing vendor, JJS, or select another to continue that.
Well, there isn't
Correct.
another vendor to select, it would have to be another bid process, but and we are up against the deadline, so we would lose the money. So the likelihood is that we'd be going with JJS Universal for everything. And at the end of the project this summer, we would have 60 new roofs. And that is long overdue.
Thanks for that clarification. That doesn't change the,
Right.
they're the most cost-effective bidder, so if it makes sense to sustain for the balance, that makes sense.
So, and we're obligated, if all other things are equal and the quality is there, to take the lowest, approve the lowest bid here.
Yep.
And references check out. I want to also say for the minutes of this meeting, and maybe for our new commissioner again, that the doing over the roofs on the High Rock Homes 60 units is long overdue. And if you don't believe me, take a drive through next time, you will see the moss growing out of half the roofs there. We're either that have to do this or start mowing the lawn there, is the bad joke that we've been making about it.
Yeah.
But the one other thing that we have discussed, and again, I want this in the minutes, is, it is the intent of the PRI, once we get through the phase 1 Linden project, to maybe turn to High Rock Homes as our next target of opportunity, because we actually have the money to redevelop that in the same fashion as we're doing the Seabeds and Cook. There's the federal funding path is much more conducive to doing that redevelopment. And we would also want to redevelop that, ahead of phase 2 of the Chamber Street.
Yeah.
Because there is no money. So, or unless something changes, and it could. And there it is. And those are our most ancient housing units that were built in 1950 and are, very, very in need of being redeveloped. And then the third reason for that is having made a substantial improvement in the number and quality of the senior housing that and disabled housing we're offering, to turn next to doing something about the family housing and being able to increase that.
Yeah.
We can redevelop that 25 acres, those 60 units by right, subject to a site plan review, of course. But the zoning we got in 2005, we can develop it to 120 units by right, duplexes. And I think the town would be open to us considering something like triplexes or something more dense, given the huge demand. So, so reason I raise all that for these minutes is just that we're aware that we are hopefully tearing those units down sooner rather than later, before those new roofs are at the end of their useful lifetime. But they're literally, cannot postpone it any longer. There's just no way that we can do that, and not fulfill our basic mission number 1 of safe, sanitary, and decent housing. You got leaks coming through the roof. Mission number 1 isn't fulfilled. So
yeah, and building on that, knowing enough of what complete new roof structural stuff costs, this is not in that range. This is a stopgap plus that carry those buildings over to.
Right.
Yep.
And if you
Okay,
have
Reg, can I just say
Mhm.
something to
Sure,
clear
yes,
the
go ahead,
record?
Jen. Yeah,
We're talking about the High Rock Estates, not the High Rock Homes.
correct. Sorry, did I misspeak? Thank you. Yeah. Yep, High Rock Estates. And yeah, so yes to both of those things. And and the other point, if we want to just to elaborate on that, is if you have a sort of catastrophic roof leak, because an old roof rips away during a storm or something, a nor'easter, then you have an even bigger problem, more expenses, either fixing up the house or temporary relocation of the family and so forth. So, we really need to do this. Plus, it's use it or lose it, so if we don't spend this money for this purpose, then money disappears, and this is the highest recommendation from our executive director for the use of this money.
Yeah.
Other comments or questions or anything we should get in the record here? Cheryl? Yes, Ed.
I am still confused here. We're running with one contractor, but we've got three contracts. Why
The
do we
word,
have contracts?
the word alternate in a contract, we have one contract means option. So we have a firm contract to do the $130,000 of the 46 roofs for sure. And then by issuing a letter to the contractor, Cheryl, which we're authorizing her to do, can add the remaining 7 roofs. So all 60 roofs are redone. It's just an option in the contract. And the reason was, just to repeat myself, we thought we might get such with the rise of construction costs, we thought we might get we'd only be able to do 46 roofs for $320,000, the money that we have available. We'd have to pick the 7 best roofs and somehow figure out to do them in some other fashion. So but it turns out that we got great competitive bids from qualified bidders. So we can do all 60 roofs and still have money left over from our budget estimate here. All right. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
This isn't negative, but we're going to do all these new roofs and then we're going to tear these things down in a few years.
Yes. So, but not earlier than 5 years from now.
Yeah.
So we won't be done, till the Christmas of 2027.
Yeah.
With the at the earliest. That assumes we get funded in the first round, which it doesn't look good right now. So it could be 2030 or into the 2030s before we can really actually start working on this redevelopment.
Okay.
I have one more question for Cheryl before we bring the vote. So what if we're doing 180,000 of the 327,000 estimate, does that leave money that's going to revert to the feds? No.
No.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So that we're not leaving,
I believe this amount, and that's a great question. I believe this amount brings us closer to our obligation percentage, I think, which is we have to obligate 90% of those funds by May 11th. And I will double check with Ryan that we have satisfied that. I believe that we have. But we have, if it turns out that we have not, we can request that the difference be transferred into operating and use that difference to pay bills.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're not losing it for sure.
We're not losing the money.
You don't need us
Just
to
don't
approve.
lose the money. No.
You don't need us to approve a $200,000, amount or anything like that, because the transfer into operating funds is an administrative thing to do here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make that clear as well.
Okay.
Great. Any other comments or questions from anybody? Hearing none, I will call the roll on the motion to approve this contract to JJS Universal for $179,534.50. Reg Foster votes aye.
Jim?
Oh, we're changing this order too. I just.
No, I'm sorry. So what he was trying to say is the officers vote in order of
Oh,
officership first. I forgot that little twist, but Ed did not. And now you go
Thank you.
second, and then we go by and then treasurer, then seniority here.
I didn't know we'd shifted to multivariate, sorry.
No, this is the way it'll be from now.
Good.
You got promoted last night here.
Jim Flanagan votes aye.
Ed Scheidler votes aye.
Penny Kirk votes aye.
Janice Bennett votes aye.
Super. Okay, there being no further business, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second from Janice. Hearing no further discussion, I will call the roll. Reg Foster votes aye.
Jim Flanagan votes aye.
There you
Ed
go.
Scheidler votes aye.
Penny Kirk votes aye.
Janice Bennett votes aye.
And we are adjourned. Good luck. Thanks for getting that in under the wire,
Thank you,
Cheryl.
Carol. Well done.
Thank you.
And,
Have a great weekend, everyone.
let's take
Thank
some
you.
fir-
Happy Mother's Day.
Make sure that the tenants appreciate it here. So great week this week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye now.
Bye.